So yeah, I'm changing the graphic back. So we have so all right. So kicking things off, UFC Atlanta. The recap on this: we all had a death sentence for Vanessa Denopoulos fighting up in weight, huge size disadvantage. Neither crisp with her striking. Her grappling's very lackluster. Takedown defense worse than Horth, but Horth didn't need to grapple with her. She knew that would be the shot Vanessa would have into this fight. Horth kept it on the feet for the most part, snapping jabs, little flicker jabs at times. Absolutely just beat the piss out of Vanessa, and it really makes you wonder, like, if she has another performance like this, is the UFC going to cut her? She's moving up in weight, and in reality, she needed to move down a weight class to have a shot. Now, she was doing some pretty good rolls in the third round, trying to give her like self some opportunities to catch a leg of Horth, but I mean that's not going to work at this level, and I don't expect it to. So we had Horth on quite a few parlays and some bets. I took her at the negative 3.5. I just feel like Horth was just mega value because of how bad Vanessa is.
Mate, look, you're cutting it straight to the thing. Look, the best thing she did was the splits at the fucking at the weigh-ins. Look, I'll give her one thing and one prop only, right? You're a beautiful girl. You can do the splits. Go and do a modeling thing. Do something. Do you be able to defend yourself in the street? You know, you might be able to beat the shit out of the boyfriend that touches you. All good, man. You've got some skills. You've got a black belt. Keep it at that. You might be able to teach people in a school. I gave her the grit. She has got heart. It was interesting. But Horth carved her up, mate. It was just
Yeah.
that plain and simple. Horth looked huge. She looked muscular. She looked ripped. Um, and just basically those kicks, you know. But hate to say it, Brad Katona got cut yesterday, so
Yeah, I saw that.
you know, like, yeah. So we'll leave it as that. I put that $5 on. By the way, remember I said I've got to put the $5 on the pole dancer. Obviously, I didn't get that $5.
Yeah.
I did put money on, and that's why I got up to 250. By the way, because I did not lie. I put every money on every one of those bets, but I said 50 for this dude
Mm.
and 50 for that dude. So we'll get there. But I did do that, brother. I kept my word to myself.
All right. So yeah, nothing else on that fight for me other than like I guess at the end of the day, respect to Vanessa for wanting to be active, but it's going against her. She needs to take more time, develop more as a fighter, and show up.
Yeah.
If you can't do it at the weight class you were just at, you have to at least bring a more technical game to the upper weight class, right? All right. So moving up the card,
You know what? Uh, Dirty boxing. That's all I'm going to go. Send her to
she
BKFC.
would do
Done.
any of those.
That's
I'm sure. At the end of the day, they could be a shit fighter, but if they're promoting their own selves within an
yeah.
organization, it will help them grow, and they know this because other people before them have done it. So, anyways, moving up the card, Phil Rowe
Yeah.
took on Anjay Los. Now, this was a bit of a split pick for me. I went with Anjay just because with Phil, he's very inactive despite he does want to be more active. They're just not apparently giving a lot of these guys fights. But his UFC level's fading, and with the age, I just wasn't really impressed with everything I was seeing from him. I knew that he was under fire for his contract probably in this fight. And I knew that Losa, pretty solid early starter. I figured he would wet blanket, hold down Phil. Phil not really able to outmuscle, lose via decision at the very least. However, we said going into this fight, as the muscle density and the stamina and the cardio of Anjay just does not go good throughout the fight. We know that Phil is a 15-minute fighter. I said that third round is live. We started hammering the live prop. We first took it at plus 460, then 580. Now, I learned something. If you guys use FanDuel, I think their odds are okay otherwise. But if you use FanDuel, screenshot your live props, especially because I took Phil Rowe in the third round at plus 1100, and I
Did
didn't
you
put
do
a.
that?
I did.
Oh,
I put him
wow.
on that, but here's the thing. I put $10, right? That should have paid me about $120, 110
Yeah,
profit.
yeah.
I didn't get shit. I had the receipt. I saw the money leave my account. The fight ends. They refund me my $10, and I don't even have a slip. So
Oh, what?
yeah, Now I get it. During the time of me locking this pick in, Phil had already starting to kind of hurt Anjay, and they just weren't like quick enough to swap that prop, right?
It was a live pick, was it? Was it a live pick?
It was a live pick. That's all these were live
Um,
picks. I had nothing. I didn't really have a lot of stake in this fight, right? So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I told myself, yeah, if Phil had a shot, it's probably late in the fight, and I did like credit his submission capabilities as well. That's why I wasn't gonna really throw much on it. It's just like, if Phil came back, it'd be a third round submission or knockout. But ends up getting it done with his hands, lets him fucking go. My favorite moment, and I want to turn this over to you for your account, is when Phil's just holding his head with that left fucking hand, just feeding them fucking right shots over and fucking over, and I'm sitting there screaming, going ham because yeah, I'm fading my pick and I'm in this contest and I love those points, but my boy Phil's paying me to fuck up and he's keeping his contract and I'm fucking feeling this shit. He's opening up the Atlanta card the way that we needed it to because again, on paper, this card looked really good. So, congrats to Phil.
Mate,
Happy to get the pick wrong. Thanks for showing up. What do you got for me, Lethal?
mate. So I picked three long shots for this fight. I started off good on this card, man. So he was one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I watched the weigh-ins. I looked at him at the weigh-ins. I looked at Lusa. We all know what Lusa's going to do. Hey, the first two rounds, dude, I was sitting back going, well, obviously I should have gone with the fucking bookies. I thought I picked the long shots right because I always believe
I was getting
you'll
ready. He
never
was
get
starting to fade, so I already had my live props ready to go. You
yeah,
see what I'm
you know
saying?
what I mean?
I'm
But
winning
I
the
did
fight
pick
2
him.
0, but I'm like, oh, fuck, no. Phil's coming back.
So that moment you were talking about, I remember it because he was fucking carving him up, right? From the outside, like just fucking boom, boom, boom. And then when he clinched him and started it, my first reaction was, get away from him, carve him up, because I thought looser. But then I started seeing these fucking, and I'm like, oh, I
Mouthpiece goes
wonder.
out too, by the way, right? We gotta
Yeah,
mention the
and it
mouthpiece.
actually worked. I was like, oh my god, they're actually working. Those are getting through. Lucy, you can see Lucy just each one just faded after each fucking. It was a brilliant moment. Great fight, kept me awake.
Yep.
Definitely. So I thought, quick recap: Jamie Lynn Horth fought a great fight. Phil Rowe fought a great fight. Happy with the product that come out of that. Not a big Lucer fan. You know, if you want to wrestle, go back to wrestling. We'll get to that later. But yeah, but I thought it was an amazing fight. So far, so good on my big
Yep.
parlay. I'll tell you where I
All right.
start losing it, man.
I'll tell you what happened on this next fight because you already told me you fell asleep during it. So, next on the card, Ricky Simone took on Cameron Smothering. I thought it was a pretty typical Ricky fight. Like, grinds it out, controls, uses wrestling. He's not really putting out a lot of damage, but he's also not taking in or sustaining a lot of damage. Cameron, better on the feet than anything. He was looking for the one big shot. We know that Ricky's susceptible to it, but overall, pretty experienced, pretty grit. I thought he was a pretty safe pick by submission decision. So he gets it done. Anything on that? What part of the fight did you
Look,
wake up at?
I got 7 minutes into it. I don't remember. Like I get up. Our fights are really early in the morning, so I get up at 3 in the morning. So by the time I got to that, I'm all hyped up. You got the blonde hair. You're trying to look like fucking Goku. You're not doing Goku. Um,
He had a
seven
nice
minutes of
knockout against
wrestling.
Bosharat, though. I mean,
Mate, I watched Smotherman. I did watch Smotherman. He wanted to fight. And honestly, and I did remember saying it to my young fella that was fucking sitting next to me, just going, look, I know I fucking dozed off for a little bit there. Uh, when I did wake up, because I heard the Bruce Buffer, and you know what? I woke up, I was like, wow. And he goes, nothing happened, bro. And at the end, look, this is all I'm going to say. You're a great wrestler, awesome. Go and try and get a gold medal at the Olympics. Because if that's all you're going to do, you're stopping this guy Smotherman, who he's a great striker. And I know it's all about using ability, but it was just so boring. It was so boring. Um, I've seen the UFC kick people out for less. Makayev Biggie boy, you know what I mean? Don't perform like that again. That's all I can say. But you won. Well done. And I had him on my parlay anyway, so I still won. I'm still on 3 for 3. So right now I'm still all fire, but I have to wake up a bit now. I'm waiting till we get to the cool fights.
Yep.
Right now, where it should be this $11.50 fight. Right,
Just
we
moving
should be
up
at Chris.
the moving up the card real quick, Lethal. I wanted to give a big shout out on this next one just to put a little extra time on it. Ochoa was my collaborative lock of the week with Amazing Bets, Arkansas, and Soups MMA. We all had this guy in mind before the card really started. It came down to how do we want it. I liked him by finish. Ochoa just comes out. He has fucking solid hammers, but he's one of those guys that kind of reminds me of like Terrence McKinney. You know, he's gonna first round gonna come out real hot. If he doesn't drop you
Yeah,
with his hands, he might be setting up a submission as well. I guess the other comparison I saw was Dubronx, rightfully so, being Brazilian, but more so one of those killer be kill kind of fighters. I'm not saying Ochoa is going to go on this undefeated streaking title shot, right? He's going to meet some adversity that is going to take his reckless ways and put him out. Or just wet blanket him and control him and show him all the layers of MMA and not just finishes. But so as long as we're getting that level of opposition like Cody Durden, it's over. It's a sleeper, and his finish was plus money. So,
yeah.
sorry, I just got really excited for this one. Wanted
No,
to throw the
no, no,
graphic up on the
no,
screen
no,
while we
no.
were talking and go back to
No,
how we normally do it.
I'm glad you did
Yeah,
because Cho was someone that I didn't have much knowledge of. You guys being in the States, you get a lot more quicker, more physical contact. You know, while you get the fights in your country, they're in your state. You only have to fly 3 hours, drive here. You actually get to meet these people. He's someone that I was sort of, I sort of stayed away from that fight. I only bet on him as part of my parlay because he was the favourite. I know Cody Durden. I did put $5 on Durden because you can't go, like I like the heart of Cody Durden, but you did everything you needed to do, dude. Like you said, you did everything you needed to say about this fight because I wasn't really there. I didn't sort of have the background. There wasn't much tape.
yeah.
Um, your information that you're giving me, which is awesome because, like I said, you guys over there, man, like when we go through the chat rooms and stuff, you guys are actually there. You actually meet these people. I saw your photo with who? What was the photo that you had?
I had
Um,
Buckley and Marab the last couple of
yeah,
weeks, and
like
before that, Jacoby.
you
Yeah,
know, yeah, so that's pretty cool shit. You know what? Like we got to wait like 3 times a year before we get that, and then if they're in Perth, I got to go 4,000 kilometers. It's like not that often. So you guys get a lot of this cool inside information. You get to meet the fighters. You collaborate with them. You know, you have this connection, which is really cool. So I enjoy that, man. So
I've
Ocha,
only I've
you
only
reminded
briefly
me of
like shook their
Joshua
hands,
Van.
very brief conversations. Really, like at the end of the day, you know, these are like big UFC events. Like I'm sure you get the ones over there in Perth. If you went to an event, walked around the stadium, you're probably gonna bump into a familiar face or two. No, no.
Haven't been to one ever.
It's not the same as Vegas. It's not the same as the Madison, right? Square Garden. But those are my only two events, 300 and
Yeah.
309. So I didn't see anyone at 309 minus at the end they had Chael and all the commentators up on the stage outside talking at the end of the fight. So I got to see Anthony Smith and I got to see Chael. I got to see Dominic Cruz and Bisping all up on the stage up there
Nah,
talking together, which was
nah.
cool.
Awesome. So
Anyways,
yeah, definitely. My plays are still going. Ocha, mate. Again. Sorry. He remind me of Joshua Van for some stupid reason. The way he fights,
yeah.
like slow start, picked it up. You know what I mean? But Joshua Van, we'll talk about that maybe another time. But yeah. But yeah, so far my parlays are still going cool. I haven't lost anything yet,
Yep.
so I'm all good. I'm like 4 out of 4. I'm looking at the greens going on my screen, sitting back hitting for the fucking 13 fights. I'm going, all right, man. I might fucking pull my own fucking. I might win my own card.
I'm geeking out at this point. We just hit a big cash out by Ochoa by finish at plus 110 prop. I put 70 on it, so that paid me pretty
Oh,
handsomely. Moving up the
boom.
card, I took Wallmaker. Took Wallmaker by. Actually, sorry, I wanted to take round specific props. Wasn't impressed by him. I went to take Wallmaker by knockout. Was like only negative 10 or negative 20 more payout than Chris, or the fight to end by knockout. So I took the fight to end by knockout, which practically paid me the best I was going to get, and we still hammered that pretty hard. So moving up the card, we all knew that Wallmaker has incredible power, technical, tight guard, but he uses his core, he uses his hips, and throws fucking frying pans out from the sides and puts motherfuckers to sleep. It's just how he fights, it's how he throws. And with Chris, I thought a lot of people were giving too many flowers to O'Malley when they're two entirely different strikers. Sugar being at range, Sugar using the kicks, Sugar kind of breaking you down to then get the TKO. Wellmaker's like the what the fuck just hit me, kind of like Iliad Taporia, one of those guys that just really has fundamental, crisp, fast striking, and he knows how to make you go to the body, to the legs, to get you guessing and hurting low, only to feint and work up with that same feint over the top hook. So, Wallmaker, beautiful knockout. What do you got for me on this one? This was like the biggest moment
Mate,
of that whole fucking card, by the way.
dude, it was the biggest moment. I had a lot to think. I had this psychological thing. I wasn't looking at stats, bets, fucking bookies. I was looking at why the UFC brought this guy back in. Okay? Why? I know you fight on the 5 fights on the regional scene, 5 fucking finishes, right? But why would you give him another killer? The first time you brought him in, you gave him Sean O'Malley. The second time you bring him in. Now, my question is, brother, what are you doing? Are you trying to fucking mentally fuck this guy? Are you literally can if you're gonna bring him back, give him someone fucking normal, dude. Like really, Wellmaker is amazing.
Yeah.
Like I
Well,
feel I'm
Chris
gonna
was
say this,
Chris was
but
a short notice step in, right?
uh, and he did it again. I
Wallmaker was
hope they look
originally
past
scheduled
him.
to fight. Sorry, I just want to make sure we get this right. Wallmaker was originally scheduled to fight. What? It doesn't show it. I thought Chris was the last second step
Oh,
in,
that's a
unless it was the
setup
last
fight,
second added
brother.
bout, and it was short notice
You
for both
sure?
guys.
Because I thought that was a setup fight, and if that was a setup fight,
Oh, I
you're setting
remember.
up.
Wellmaker asked and requested it because it's his hometown, basically his home area, his backyard. But I don't think it gave Chris a lot of notice by the time they made it official and was like, okay, let's find Wallmaker an opponent. But either here or near, I don't think it would have made much of a difference. Chris doing good until he wasn't outside of the UFC. That's truthfully where he would be, a PFL at most. Just he probably needs to get out of the UFC. I don't see much going for him here. He's gonna suffer some catastrophic fucking damage at the UFC level. So, um, you make
Dana
any
is
money on that
using you,
fight?
brother. Dana is using you as a fucking a fill-in punching bag. You've been embarrassed twice, Chris. I admire your heart. I put $30 on that, but
Sure.
that was paying out
Yeah, he's the
$300.
biggest underdog in UFC like MMA betting history. He was like plus 2,900 underdog
And
for a
guess
knockout.
what? As Sean Sonnen says, I keep on going back to that. It's $5 and plus. You're going out in a stretcher. $11. It was nearly a body bag. So,
Yeah.
dude, Chris, go back to your family. Use that money you got from the UFC. I don't know what if they give you
Not even
another fight.
not
Who's
even
going to think?
seven or eight
Like,
thousand dollars, by the way. By the time he pays his fees, taxes,
yeah,
coaches, he got $12,000 total to get his ass knocked out
are
like
they
that.
going to give it anyone easy? Like the fighters that they give it in 2 out of 2s, like, oh my God, right? But the balls to do it. The
Sure.
balls to do it.
Yeah,
God, the heart.
I admire
What
Chris
a
for that.
man.
100%.
All day. I couldn't do it. I would have said no. I thought, like, fuck. You got to fight world makers. Fucking
And
really?
like he was doing the right things to come back to the UFC, right? He was staying active outside of the UFC. And we know
Mm.
that Dana really likes it when guys do that and they do get their opportunities back. But Wallmaker, just a whole new tier. that's not a good comeback fight because this guy's ceiling has yet to really be explored. So moving up the card, um,
Yep.
we have shit rolling at this point. Now, I did put a little sprinkle on Chiesa up against McGee. I know McGee pretty resilient in terms of his grappling defense, never really getting submitted. But I thought with Chiesa, he's just simply better in the area, and he's going to demonstrate a new level to it. And he's been streaking and staying alive in a division full of people, mostly because of the level of opposition they're feeding him, of course, being the company man, the person who did
Yeah.
fucking sue the UFC after getting hit by all the glass shards from Connor with the fucking dolly bus incident. But here we are. He's going to keep getting pretty easy fights. I knew decision was the safest. That's why it paid out like shit. I put a little sprinkle on the 340 submission by Chiesa. I thought he could get it done. Didn't happen. Otherwise, we stay clear of every other parlay and bet.
Look, that fight was probably. I fell asleep in the first round of Simone. I fell asleep by about the second half of the Chiesa fight. So I got 15 minutes of sleep so far during this card, by the way. So far, I've got 15 minutes of
Yeah,
fucking sleep. Thank you, Michael, Chiesa, and McGee. You cancelled each other out. And I watched the first. I actually just like going, wow, wow. So I had, and I did sprinkle Court McGee because you are a ex person that's recovered. You went through that strength. I'm not going to say anything negative, man. You're recovering. You're doing the stuff. Court McGee, I'm an alcoholic too. I drink 3 of these every day, which can buy the medical health board. I'm an alcoholic as well. So, mate, but for you to fucking get through what you did, go to the UFC, I knew that wasn't going to be an easy fight for Chiesa, but like you, I did think Chiesa was going to actually use that beautiful jiu-jitsu. um, I saw him try to take these one legs. I didn't see a commitment there. I don't know
yeah,
whether he was worried about Court McGee because Court McGee's don't get if Court sorry, I got my dogs here. If Court McGee gets someone on the ground, he's a fucking problem.
yeah.
He's a
I
big,
thought
strong
Michael just
fucking
knew he was
lumberjack dude.
safe. He was just safe wherever this fight went. I don't think he really cared. There wasn't really a lot of initiation though, so the fight was pretty much a sleeper. I put it right next to the Simone fight. That one bored the piss on me.
Yeah.
But this is where we were getting all riled up. This is the moment
Yeah.
we're all getting ready. Fucking Bear Jew was supposed to kill or be killed, as typical Paul Craig fights are against Rodolfo Bellato. Really appalled with this fight. Really, I mean, it was clear as day. I don't know why the camera angles stopped showing the original few replays through all the highlights throughout the night and people on social clips. The angle was very clear. The up kick hit, didn't have much of an
Well,
impact as Bellato's just holding his hands up, having literally the reaction to the judge. He lands with his neck still upright, acknowledging, and it's when the ref goes to react and like look back at Paul and process the situation, does he almost immediately go, I should probably act like I'm knocked out because that was an illegal strike and I might just get the easy pay. That's why he did that. Everything else from there, I believe personally, was just an absolute fucking just. He's putting on a show, and that's the angle I saw. All the fighters that react, that actually know what it's like being dropped while being knocked out versus conscious. Your arms can't do this. You can't sit upright with your neck and wait for the response or reaction to a judge. So shit's really soy. I hope they actually hook him up against a killer next time and we watch him get his ass just fucking pummeled. Um, yeah, I would like to see somebody terrorizing at 215. Just put that guy, or sorry, 205. Just put that guy away for good. Paul Craig, I still
yeah.
think if he is to do anything left in his career in the UFC, it is at 205, where sporadically a spinning back fist might connect, or in this fight, he was incorporating his takedowns much better. Paul was finding a way to cross and put his head to the side and be out of range of some of these shots. Paul did good in this first round until the fight was stopped, and I had Paul winning that first round too. So I was actually really happy to see Bear G show up the way he did, but this is 2 times now. This fight's fucking cursed. Don't
Yeah.
reschedule it ever. And I was so
Uh,
fucking sad about all the payout props because you had Paul Craig by finish at plus 700. So either way, you had Paul Craig by knockout in the first or second round at plus 2100 prop. And you
hey,
had
I
Paul
had
Craig
that.
by submission in the first and second round by 1200 prop. And so I had all these darts on the board with parlays and distance and all this shit. And no contest means that's all refunded and voided. All those parlays, they don't do much anymore. So,
Yeah.
anyways, what was your recollection of that one about the kick that
Mate,
happened?
my recollection was, oh my fucking God, right? So I'm a perfect, I've got all the fights so far. I'm going this win streak. I think I'm going to pick the whole card. That fight destroyed it. I don't know whether it's called bad juju or what the fuck, because after that, my fights were shit. Like, I'm telling you. So this is what I've got. I had Paul Craig by knockout. Boom. Right? Boom. On my parlay. Bang. Thought because I needed to make more money. So I thought, fuck, everyone's going, because I believe, and here I'm going to go, a little bit fucking analytical. His striking is getting a lot better. I saw that against Bo Nickel. Right, I actually thought he won that fucking fight, to be quite honest. So, and if he
That's what
did
I was
lose,
telling you. I was there. I was at Madison, and everyone had Bo winning that fight. Just no one was impressed. We all hated the fight because Bo didn't try doing a
yeah.
single takedown. It was a jab merchant, and Paul, you know,
So
not
I
as good on the
thought
footwork, I guess.
Paul Craig did great. Uh, I've still fucking, mate, I've never been Paul Craig, win or lose, I love the person as a man. I think he represents himself as a man very well, as a father, as a fighter. Even when they were talking about the thing at the interview, he sat back and goes, "Look, I don't believe any man would walk in there and want to fucking give up because you're in the UFC." Like he refuses to believe that. He could have sat back and bagged the shit out of him at that interview. He
Yeah,
could have gone into a full Colby competent asshole moment, but he didn't. He fucking sat back with integrity and going, look, if it happened, it happened. I hate to believe, basically, if he did that, I would hate to believe it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, Paul Craig, your stocks have just gone further up. Bo Nickel, your stocks went up, even though you lost. This fight, your stocks went up. So, if you're collecting Paul Craig's cards, even though he's losing, he's actually winning. He's actually winning. Poor fucking bastard. And here's my second piece. If someone's on top of you in a street fight, this is where the rule should, they do all this port the six elbows bullshit. If someone's on top of you in a street fight and you're on the ground, right? And you have two big long legs and you kick them in the face because you're on your back, you can either pull them in or you can fight backwards, right? If you do an up kick and knock someone out while you're on your back, and someone is standing over the top of you, that is not illegal as far as I'm concerned. Knee grounded, that guy is literally, his knee was grounded, right?
Mm-hmm.
All good, whatever. He's over the top of him. That's an intimidating position to be in. If someone is over the top of you,
Yeah, it's
I am
funny.
fighting back.
It's funny how many people, even athletes, even other fighters, was that kick illegal? It's like everyone had to wait a
The up
second and
kick's
hear a judge
illegal.
or the ref say it's an illegal kick because we've made some recent changes with the ground rules with
Yeah.
grappling and if the knee's down, they're not the rules of grounding have changed. I would say I've seen up kicks be a lot more closer to that, like not quite the knee was down on the ground, but practically the same position, same scenario. And those fights are live, and those fights continue. So it's like,
Aljamain Sterling,
yeah,
Peter Yan, Eagle Knee, saw that, fair enough. That was a guy on his back, fighting from his back with a guy over the top of him, knee on the ground. Legion! So, sorry, that's my dog. So, fighting on the ground. If you're on the street with a person, you're throwing octopus, mate. You're throwing legs, knees up, everything. One caught him. Paul Craig won by TKO, in my opinion.
Yep.
He knocked him out, done and dusted.
Yep.
Rodolfo, again, herpy boy, thank you. You've got herpes the first time, and now you got some sort of Alzheimer's fucking shit the second time. So your stock is gone.
Yeah.
I, I'll give it a month. He's gone. He's out the UFC, brother.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. But yeah, no, like you said, just recapping one last time, Paul Craig. Uh, you saw the card collection that I got to post on his fight. You know, it's kind of the thing we do on my channel every week. Is I take the fighters down all the fight card and I make my posts of some trading cards. So I always love posting my Paul Craig
Yeah.
collection. I got some okay cards of his, a lot of rookies, and he was one of those guys that if you were to show somebody the face of MMA on a face-off and how it could look and how cool it can be, Paul Craig's an exciting one. You don't have to be a huge MMA fan. It is so entertaining and so exciting, and that look that he gets in his eyes, um, he just help. You can't help but get excited for his fights, whether you're fading him, betting with him. I've done both. I at the end of the day, he's just a fun fighter that makes you go, okay, I'm excited. So was really sad to see
I
the
do.
MSG performance based on that because I was actually really pumped for that Bo Nickel fight. My friend more so wrestled with Bo Nickel in college, so he was pumped for Bo. I'm over here pumped for Paul, maybe pulling the upset, as a big Craig fan. So I would like to
Hey,
see
can you
him.
excuse me for 20 seconds, my brother?
Yep, I'm gonna keep doing my thing. You do your thing.
Yeah,
So,
I'll
yep,
be right back.
sounds good, brother. So, yep, for me, Paul Craig, I think if he shows up in his next fight, can put on the same kind of looks that he did in this one, mixing it the way he is, making better efforts of getting close to use his jiu-jitsu, I think we could see Paul Craig rally off another finish or two before he's done. And that's really what we need. It's like we got those fighters like your Tai Tuivasas, your Paul Craigs. You can't help but like maybe feel good as an overall MMA fan, regardless of stakes and picks or whatever that looks like. It's like, man, you feel good in that moment, and then they go on these losing streaks, and you get so frustrated with them. It's kind of the love and hate relationships of guys that you still believe in that are having a hard go. Um, but at the end of the day, they need support to do what they do. And they have mine. Just yeah, I'm rooting for Paul. Whether I want to win a contest and fade him on a pick, make money with him against him, I like the fighter a lot. So I hope he gets rescheduled for something good. If he took tail end of the summer, I could see Paul Craig coming back in like August, July maybe. He's also a good backup fighter for some of these guys in that top 15 area. So let's see it. All right, moving up the card. Lonzo Minifield took on Omar Sy. I was really fucking happy that I faded with Minifield by decision at plus 1100 prop. We also faded at a plus 1100 knockout with Minifield. Sy was the pick, but heavily favored on the card. Negative 715 is a huge favorite. Wasn't really a lot of value to make. I had I had distance under on some parlays, so that sucked because this was like my almost guaranteeing you it's going to end by a finish in the first two rounds. That backfired. Um, but the rebound was the Minifield decision prop, which, by the way, I don't think he won the fight by decision. I thought it was either a draw or it was going to Psy. Um, yep, that's what I got on that one. What do you got for me on this?
Okay, dude. I followed the fucking bookies. I watched the waves. I watched the shit. Another Frenchman, Surugan lookalike. Fucking, I thought Alano Menzenfield was a big black man. That cunt was a bigger, blacker man. So I thought the bigger, blacker man was going to beat the smaller, blacker man. You know what? The third fight, I've probably got another 3 minutes sleep here. All right.
Yeah.
So far, I'm up to 18 minutes sleep because what I just saw, firstly, I followed the bookies and I should have fucking gone to $6 because I didn't realize old mate was so fucking boring.
Yeah.
You know, French fighting. Think about it. Morgan Sherrari lost his last one. That was a fucking boring fight. Cyril Gahn, you know what? You're fit, you're athletic, you all look good, and you speak the language of love. But you suck. You're really not entertaining,
He's
man. You're
inactive.
really,
He thinks he's entitled to title shots. You watch the vlogs
yeah.
pre-fight, everyone's
I
training. He's playing FIFA soccer.
Netflix
I
so
could
much.
go off all fucking day on Cyril Gahn, but I'll save us
You
that
know,
for now.
you've got a movie on Netflix, like
Yeah,
called KO. You know, so like, look, at the end of the day, Omar Saeed and fake Cyril Gahn dude. Look, you look good. You play the part. Uh, it was boring. I can't see Hunter or even Alonso, dude. I can't see them doing anything favors for either of you guys after that fight.
yeah,
You bored the shit out of each other. You should have gone out to the movies with a bucket of popcorn and watched Driving Miss Daisy. That's what you should have done together instead of fighting in the ring. That's what you should have done.
yeah,
And you should have just sat back and had a good night out just watching a good old Driving Miss Daisy because I would have rather watched Driving Miss Daisy than watch that fight. But at $6, well done, Alonso Manafield, and anyone that put him on that 13 fight parlay that we always discuss, getting the whole card. If you got it, and you didn't follow the bookies, well done. And this is the last thing I'll say is it's not all what the bookies say, man. It's about our knowledge. If you have a gut feeling, you follow it because that guy was at $6.50 in Australia. So, like you said, $7 to one, basically.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So the fight disappointed me. Not so much me losing my parlay. I just thought at $7, Alonzo Merrifield, like Charles Sonny I said, hashtag Shale at Shale. If it's over 550, you're going in a body bag. There was no body bag there. There was
Yeah.
popcorn and driving Miss Daisy. That's what was going on during that fight.
And just to polish up, I think the bookies have been more extreme and more radical in the last year or two as more attention and spotlight is being shed by a lot of these casinos and bookies on UFC, on MMA, as this is a really popular growing sport. So the bookies on your favorite fighters, you know, the guys that are likely to win, it's been way more radical than I've recalled seeing in like past betting years. And I really got involved in UFC betting around
They suck
2019,
again.
2020. So in the last 5 years, when someone's favorite to win, it's just you're stupid as fuck if you're betting on it unless you know specifically how and which round and
Yeah.
using at the very least like parlay legs that are secured. So, all right, moving
No,
on.
yeah.
Moving
No,
on.
I was an amateur fight. Definitely. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Mansur, Abdul, Malik taking on Cody Brundage. Cody showed up as a dog in this fight and made it a fight. I know a lot of us had Mansur by knockout specifically, as he is also another pretty favorite, huge favorite, moderate favorite in this fight. But there was some value with his first, second round knockouts. We know that Brundage is a killer, killed, you know, kind of beef fighter. He's gonna sit in the pocket, swing hard, either get dropped, or you know, surprise somebody with a shot of his own, like he did with Petrosky. What I thought Cody would do more of, which is what kept him alive in this fight. Some of his grappling, some of his wrestling, and you know Malik starts to fade. He's not a good 15-minute fighter. That volume really shortens up in those first two rounds. He's still very athletic. He's still very strong. He muscles his way through that final round. But I reckon if you're a better third round fighter and you can survive the storm of Mansur, you're alive to maybe put him out. So that's a note I took to myself just to maybe consider fading him, seeing that he is such a huge favorite. If you took the right dog on a third, you know, round finish or second, third round finish, it would probably pay really well. So not what we expected. I think we were robbed a few finishes. What do you got for me on this fight?
Hey, look, I just got my picking the long shots back to front. I should have picked this one as my long shot and not Menonsville. You know what I mean? Like on my
Yeah,
side. Like I said, I picked three in a thing because there's always three or four that always breaks up the parlays. I've got like for next week or this week, but we'll talk about that. But look, Well done, Malik. You did the job. I actually was going for Brundage. That was more of an emotional bet than a. I like Brundage. I think he's got heart. I like his style. I think he fights well. Um, I think he's got all round all the right skills. I don't know what he's missing. That's up to his coach and his team. I don't know. And again, I'm not a champion of the world. And, between the number one ranked and the champion of the world, there's about 12 degrees of separation, brother. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why he can't sort of put it together. But I'm always going to back him as a long shot because I've backed him as a long shot before, and he's pulled fucking through as
Yeah.
well.
That
You know,
last fight he
so I
had with
thought,
that knockout, I'm pretty sure Chris
yeah, yeah,
Petrosky.
and that's what sucked me into this parlay was Brundage at $3.45.
Oh, it's
I
Julian.
sort of went,
Sorry, it's Julian Marquez. He got that nice
yeah,
knockout. That paid me
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
huge on that card. All right.
So yeah, definitely well done, Malik. Well done. You did your job. I thought it was a good fight, Brundage. Next time round, brother. I hope you make it through. I hope you get signed on. That's all.
Yep. Moving up the card. Fight out was very least interested in. Not really competitive. Huge following for either guy just based on where they are in their age and their fading careers in some cases. For Cody Garbrandt, he took on Raoni Barcelos. I think everyone was smart to take Barcelos in this fight for the most part. I know a couple of people kept like nostalgic UFC video reels online. Oh, remember when Cody Garbrandt showed up and had that fight with Dominic Cruz, and you just realize it's like, well, we haven't even remotely seen
No,
the same Cody either before or after
no.
that fight. So statistically, is he gonna show up randomly on in fucking UFC Atlanta as he's inactive, older? Probably not. And I like the pick with Barcelos as the opponent in the sense where, he's gonna take some guys that have some hype and just at this point run with it and crush it. And maybe in doing this, he's building a little bit better of a name and being more known and recognized because he's going to keep doing this until they finally give him someone, ranked. And that's where this shit's going to really hit the fan for him. So I think he's going to struggle at the end, but they're like kind of making more legacy matchups in this sense too. So I like him fighting some of the older guys, but he can still do it against the younger guys too. And it's a very quick and competitive division. So, um, yeah, what do you got?
Mate, I just went emotional. This is where I lost all my parlays, brother. Okay. This is where everything went downhill for me because I put everything on fucking Cody. I did. Because
Uh,
you were right. I only remember a moment. No, I lost all my. I put everything on
yeah.
Cody. This is where everything went to shit. All my 250, all because it all ended up. You lose parlays along the way, and you're left with a couple left. The few I had left, which was about five, all had Cody. I didn't cash in. I could have cashed in for maybe 150, but I didn't. I thought, fuck it, I'm going all the way to Las Vegas, brother. Fuck this shit. I'm going all the way, right? I'm going full hangover. I'm putting it all on. And it was very emotional. Deep down, I knew he was going to lose. If people watch our last one, I actually said, I think he's going to lose. RIP. And I even said, I'm going to bet emotionally on this fight on our last podcast. So I did bet emotionally on this fight. I kept my word. I put it all on the Garbrandt. Brother, you've done your thing. You're a good looking man. The dreads, the thing, you got the child, you got the tats. I don't know what you want to do here, or you're going to turn into Tony Ferguson. So,
Yeah.
uh, RIP Cody. I love you. I love the fuck, mate. I've got Cody Garbrandt shit. I think he's still that dominant. Again, I'll mention that stupid fight, which we all fucking remember. All I do remember Cody. If I ever met him, go, man, I'll never forget who you were. I still know that you're a great man and a great fighter. Like I wouldn't stand in front of you, like you know what I mean. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, that was you in your prime, brother. Uh, that's what made you great. Keep that legacy, because if you keep on doing what you're doing, you're going to turn into Ferguson.
Yep. And
Just keep that legacy.
I was going through some cards. I was sad I had a couple of graded cards I didn't get to show. I had Mojo, knockout, knockout, instant knockout, the Prism insert Mojo of Kamar
Yeah, yeah,
Usman.
yeah.
Kamar Usman Mojo out of 25, 12th of the print, graded at 9. And then I had a 2017 Garbrandt, just tops chrome. Um, so was really happy to come across that card, but sad I didn't get to share it because, yeah, I mean, the more exciting fights of Cody were all pre 2000, 2020
Yeah.
basically, the older Garbrandt. So,
Mhm.
and he was
And you
live by
know,
knockouts then, and it was a good time. But no,
and I think a lot of
we're beyond
collectors,
that.
as soon as people lose fights, they sell their cards straight away. You see them on the chat rooms, bang, bang, he's worth shit, and they're fucking, how much is this worth? Do you know what? Cody has still got a lot of followers,
Yep.
more followers than we have, probably 2 or 3 million, right? So someone out there wants your cards. Someone pays good money for Cody. He did have a legacy. He was a fucking world champion. You still fucking did that fucking great moment with Dominic Cruz. No one will forget that. That was a Muhammad Ali moment, dude.
Yep.
No one will ever forget that fucking moment. And keep your fucking cards because Cody Garbrandt, win, lose, or draw, man, I'm a massive fan, and I would love to have him on our fucking show one day because he's amazing.
Yeah, I think he like wrestled for Michigan State. I know he trains out of the Lansing area or had trained out of the Lansing area for a while, so that's kind of a cool native for me because that's only like an hour and a half away from where I'm at. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now,
Um,
big fucking props to Cody.
yep.
Moving on, I guess, right?
Yeah, no, he'd be awesome. I mean, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
a lot of these fighters would be good to have, but for him being as local as he is, it would be cool to hear about his roots because I'd probably recognize the area myself. So, all right, moving up the card, we're gonna bang out these last three so we get moving on to the actual card this week. Um, quick summary: I thought the fight with Shabazian and Petrosky was not going to the judges. I had it in numerous parlays as a finish, and I had Edmund Shabazian. I thought he'd get a knockout in this fight, and I faded that because the underdog props were so nice with Petrosky mostly by submission, seeing that he would strategically want to grapple and get Edmund to the ground where he's not dangerous and hunt for ground and pound and hunt for a submission. So got the pick right, but most of the bets wrong on this one, and that's where my parlays fell off. So I did fade myself with one last parlay, and I said this fight for plus however many props, so it was a lot, to go to the judges, and then I combined that with Kamaru by knockout and Buckley with a knockout because they made two really nice parlays. The Buckley was rounds 3, 4, and 5 at plus 3,500 prop, and the Kamaru Usman was a second and third round knockout at plus 4,500 prop. So, and that's 45 to 1 and like 25 to 1. So those are big payouts for a two leg parlay based on that fight going to the judges. So, um, again, we're robbed a few finishes on this card. I thought there'd be more chaos, more destruction, live audience. It seemed like Wallmaker zapped the room out of that whole fucking stadium because we just couldn't get one. But back and forth scrap, but happy Edmund got it done. What do you got for me on this one?
Petrosky all day, man. He was one of my locks, dude. Even my stepson fucking put $100 on it. I said, "This is happening." All right, honestly, he was my third long shot for the fucking my card. So I
Yep,
picked the three. Right, I got fucking old mate Rowe at the beginning, and then I lost
Garbrandt.
that other one. Yeah, and then this. So I picked the three, and again got failed. I locked him in. I locked him in like a fucking hooker in a goddamn brothel fucking bathroom, dude. Okay, I locked him in, and that was paid for. I was done. I was walking out with a goddamn blowjob on that shit. And guess what? No blowjob.
Yep.
Hooker didn't come through. It was fucking done. It was just disappointing. It was just all imagination. I didn't even have a hooker in the bathroom. I was just so drunk that nothing happened. So it was just, again, another, I'll hate to say this, the card was disappointing.
Again, we were robbed
Like,
a few finishes, a few more
yeah,
exciting moments. Yeah.
another disappointing fight.
Yep.
And we'll go on to the next one, and we'll keep on going on. It's all disappointing, but I'm just saying, a few finishes. The whole card was no finishes.
Yep.
Right, the whole
I
card.
know. And a lot of us
Yeah,
predicted we'd get several. So like moving up the card
yeah.
too, we had Miranda Maverick taking on Nunez. Nunez had her moments in the fight. Definitely, as we knew, better in the striking department. In the grappling, I thought Maverick would do a bit more. Turns out, I guess, in the second round, because she did show up in the first round, look all right. Maverick, in the second round, tore ACL, I suppose. She had a nice head and arm. Looks like it was very close to get Nunez to tap. Nunez is good jiu-jitsu, was able to survive it just barely, and she lives to see another round and ends up, edging out a decision. Nice 2-1 decision. Finish props on all methods for these girls were absolutely crazy. I like the submission props a lot by Maverick and Nunez. So since we both had a couple moments there, that was nice. I also had Rose by knockout at +1,000. These were just small single straight up method like payout props because they pay 11-1 and 10-1 and 13-1. So you have to ask yourself,
Yeah,
like, in 10 fights or in 13 fights, would this happen at least once? And so you make those small logical sprinkles and they're fun. They typically pay out, but just not this week for me. Not those finishes. So got the pick wrong as well. I had Maverick as one of my dogs this week. Didn't happen for me, but makes me hope that if she was healthy, maybe she's game to actually just barely edge it out because it wasn't a complete bolt like blowout of a fight up until that moment when she was clearly not the same fighter anymore. So moving up the card. Oh, sorry, did you have anything for me on that, Lethal?
and look, you know what? I'm not. Yeah, I could see why you moved me on because the last time I spoke about Rose, I
Yeah.
spoke really disrespectful, and I'm not going to fucking do that again. What I am going to say is, Rose, you did what you had to do. You won the fight. Maverick, you lost the fight. I went Maverick at $3.50 because I didn't want Rose to win because I find it boring. And guess what, Rose? You delivered another boring fight. Thank you for that. Co-main event. Moving on.
Yep. Moving up to the main event, Kamaru Usman still showing the world that he's got tread on those knees. The Nigerian Nightmare knees still have some tank tread on him as he took out Joaquin Buckley, took him to a decision. Usman very live early in this fight, ground and pound. Having Buckley down was a big feat because it's not like people have just grabbed a hold of Buckley and just had their way with him. He's very athletic, very physical. It was Kamaru's gauge of like distance and speed and mixing his striking and those off opportunities to really lunge out and surprise Buckley. And Buckley was able to catch on and make the adjustments later in the fight to avoid being taken down. But it was the beginning of this fight that Kamaru Usman really took those dangerous rounds away from Buckley. Where Buckley comes out, they're both dry. They both have a lot of power in their hands. Buckley didn't really get to sit there and trade and go off like he could have. I really do predict in my mind Buckley could have had a knockout. My prediction and how the fight could have went out was that Usman's game, just like he was with Hamzat, the first 3 rounds, and all of a sudden that fourth, fifth round hits in the physical specimen, the man in his prime, Joaquin Buckley, shows the world that he's just got that better gas in that tank and he's got that better cardio off the inactive, injured Usman coming back, trying to do what a lot of champs can't do against the contenders. We look at that stat with Volkanovski. He became the first in 19 fighters to come back and successfully get the championship belt back against a loaded gun. And that was Diego Lopez, sure. But I think Joaquin Buckley easily part of this welterweight top 5 as far as guys that could be fighting for the belt. So in my mind, I took this fight as serious as that and just did away with Usman in the sense of surely his best days are past. And now I'm kind of excited because we already had a volcano at welterweight that was about to erupt and just had nothing but banger championship um, fights, hopefully with an active champ, right? If JDM continues or Islam, whoever. I just want activity. Usman's now part of this. and now his time is limited, and I think they're going to keep him busy and give him one more fight. And if he hits this shit, we could see Kamaru Usman come in to get his belt back. He's one win away from tying up with Matt Hughes and a couple other guys, a couple like all-time greats
I
at
think it's still
welterweight.
hard, whether it was a win streak. That was a win streak. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, but he has got many records that he's close to.
Yeah, as far as all-time welterweight, obviously Neil Magny has a record there too, but his record was right next below GSP, below I think it was Den Henderson and Matt Hughes. Like he's right there. And so if Usman gets another win or two, he'll be the one knocking on GSP's all-time record for like championship wins or something like that. I have to look into that further, but anyways, it's fucking crazy. He's setting history, and he's still fighting. So you have to put him under the scope a little bit. So, and then just to recap for me real quick before I turn over to you, doesn't mean I'm not Team Buck going forward. It would have been a beautiful torch passing as I described in the week's breakdown, but he used his mic time perfectly and said it best. Like, hey, it's just an honor to be in here with Usman. You know, he's an all-time great. He's an all-time legend. I believe in iron sharpening iron, and this was a nice, humble kind of like lesson to Buckley throughout this fight. And I think Buckley will level up off this fight and come back stronger yet. So I'm not ruling Buckley out. I'm still excited for him to fight. But Usman showing up and reminding the world. So, all right, what do you got for me on this main event before we close out on Atlanta?
Probably be the one I'm going to close off at the longest period. All right. So props to both fighters. I'm going to keep this as short as I can. But wow, 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 wow. Call it boring, call it this, call it that, call it exciting. I knew what I was going to see, and I saw the Usman that I knew. I saw the Usman that used to be $1.17, $1.06, $1.10. You know what I mean? Like, there was a time I said to Sam, no, she's not even here. I'm like, I'm looking at her, she's not even here. I'm like, oh, well, you're not here. When I said to Sam, I said, we used to watch fights, and when he came on, it was, he was going to win. It was just that plain and simple.
And I
It
was
was that
always fading
plain
him
and
for the
simple.
longest time until he
Yeah,
developed his boxing.
yeah.
Because
So
he was
I'm going
fucking
to say
Marty the
this.
Toe Stomper, is what he was back then. Pissed me the
This
fuck
is
off.
so emotional. When he cried, I wept. I had a tear come out of my eye, and I'll say this as a 52-year-old man. I felt that. I felt what you felt. I felt that people fucking counted you out. In my personal life, people count me out all the time. Say we can't do it, but I always do. We can't manage it. Well, we always do. We can't. My business can't grow. You won't be the best. You won't, but I do. You know, so I put fucking hard work. You are the part of the three kings. Don't forget this. The three kings. Never has that been done. Never. Not even the Dagestani has had three belt holders in three different divisions at the same time.
Was it Francis Ngannou, Dracus Duplessis, and Kamaru Usman?
No, it's Israel Adesanya.
I'm trolling you, by the
Fucking
way.
no,
I'm
no,
fucking
don't
trolling
you
Izzy, by the
dare,
way.
no,
There's no
don't
way
you
you'd ever
dare,
see that, but I'm just saying. That was a fucking troll.
fucking. You know what? And if there should be a fourth king. If the three black dudes didn't hate the white dude that said he was a black dude, they would actually sit back and go, do you know what?
There
We'll have
certainly
a
are. Dude, UFC
I
Africa
have a
is going to
photo in
happen,
my
and there's
room
certainly
of
four
the
fucking
king.
kings. I'm making the graphic
I
for
have
it.
to. There should be a four
I'll make
kings,
the graphic for it.
literally, and that's the country. Four UFC champions. Australia's got three. You guys have got a few. You guys
Yeah.
got a few, but that's back in the day, though. Like in the modern era, I don't know how many. I don't know how many American UFC champs. Sean Strickland was the last one.
Yeah. The beautiful thing about it is they were all three of the defending champs, right? And
Yeah.
so that's why
Now,
DDP gets to be part of this shit now. He is a defending
four,
African champion. So there's
four
four
kings.
fucking goddamn kings.
There's four fucking kings.
I'm gonna make
That's
that
it.
dude. His next fight, I'm making a graphic called the Four Fucking Kings,
Four kings.
and I
There is
can't
four
wait for
kings.
people to rage about it
They're
because
talking
what are they
about
gonna say
DDP
other than
being
skin color?
racist.
Because
How
he is
about the three
he
black
lived.
kings being racist to
Listen,
the fourth king?
he lived and fucking trained and breathed Africa. Izzy breathed China and fucking New Zealand. Francis breathed America and France. Kamaru Usman breathed fucking United States. Okay? Dracus Duplessis breathed fucking Africa. His whole life trained, and when he got good enough, and where a lot of fighters grow exponentially and travel and broaden their skill sets, especially someone like Dracus who does mix both striking and grappling, he could have traveled the world and absorbed so much talent and potential. He stayed home, and you got to honor that shit. And I know if the narrative
Brother,
was switched on this and we weren't looking at skin color, people would be riding that story all fucking day saying, yep,
my mum,
this is a true
my
African
mum
champ.
is my mum is Indian. My dad is a white German, East German, escaped from East Germany. I'm born and bred in Australia. I speak Australian. They never brought me. I don't speak Indian and I don't speak German because when they came to Australia, they decided to bring me up as an Australian. So I eat Vegemite, I eat Wheat Bix, I speak like this. I do not fully follow Hinduism, Catholicism, nothing. They let me be me. But I am an Australian. I am not Indian. I am not fucking German. I might have that blood in me, but I am fucking 52 years in this country, born in Townsville, Queensland. I speak it. 1973 model, brother. You know, and I've had
Mm-hmm.
arguments with my parents. My mum used to go, "Oh, you're Indian." I go, "No, I'm not." My dad goes, "You're German." I go, "No, I'm not. I'm actually fucking Australian." That was your choice,
Mm-hmm.
skin color or not. Born and bred, brother. Born and bred. And that's what DDP is trying to say. I'm born and bred, bro. White,
Yeah.
black, I don't doesn't matter. Like I'm not white.
It's
Australians are meant to be white. You know,
it
I'm a
would be a
fucking Indian German
different
Australian.
it'd be a different story if DDP just showed up, represented Africa, won a belt, and then we're having this conversation. 100% would they probably have respect and be different about it. It's because DDP rose to fight Izzy to become champion, and they had this race war that Izzy did start, by the way, getting into the octagon clearly a little drunk that night,
Yeah,
calling DDP his African N word, African N word. What's wrong, my
yeah.
African N word? And just looking him up and down. Again, context is everything. Switch colors, that shit's all over worldwide media and not good for TKO and UFC. And you know what I'm talking about. We see this
Oh,
going
yeah,
on right now in
absolutely.
W Women's NBA with Caitlin Clark. If the narrative was around and we could use a color filter and make all the girls on that court white, bashing a black girl who's very talented, who's clearly the best player of her gender in that sport, that shit would be all over the media in the worst ways possible. Um,
Yeah.
I'm sick. I'm sick of us being so divided in color, and I want to start looking at the reality of who we are as people, what region of the world we come from, and what we do, and how well we do it. When you talk about
See,
sports and you
you're talking to
compare
me, right?
athletes, this is the standard.
It just say I was living next to you. You're talking to me. I'm an Indian, German, Australian. I don't know what you call me. Some people in Australia call me a mongrel because that's how we banter here. You're a
Yeah.
mongrel, mate. You know what? I'm
In
not
Michigan, we
offended at
call
that.
that a
I am
mutt.
a mongrel. You know what? I am a mongrel, mate. I am a fucking mongrel, mate. And I'm not offended when people call me a mongrel because I'm born and bred in Australia, but I do have German blood in me. I do have Indian blood. That's why I am this color. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't matter what you say. Well, I had that person. When people call me that, you're a curry muncher. Yes, I love curry. I
Mm-hmm.
munch on it all day. I
Yeah,
would
me
eat a
too.
curry every night of my life if I could. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't, keep on insulting me. All you're saying is what I am, and I don't care anymore. Like back in the day, I was picked on, man. When I was in school, dude, 73, I'm talking about 40 years ago. Like in this country, we're a racist country over here, don't we? We might be think we're all fucking free over here, dude. This country's fucking racist for 28 million people.
Yeah.
You know, it just you just got to sit back and you're either in or you're out. And I'm not in with anything. I just tell everyone to fuck off. I'm my own man. I'm Australian. Fuck off, everyone. You know. And you know what? My best friends are fucking all different cultures in this. We are a multicultural country over here. I would never take arms, for example, on my next door neighbour. I got we got like immigrants living up the thing. Immigrants. My parents were immigrants. They're not fucking Australian. My fucking dad's German, dude. He caught a boat
Mm-hmm.
over here in 1963. My mum came out here in 1973. You know, like I'm going where you're going, man. We were just fucking all the same people. Fuck all this shit, mate. You know, black, white, fucking up, down, left, right.
I'm just
You know,
trying to
I
bring it
got
more to the anchor of sports, though. Like in sports, we're very statistical. We look at records, we look at stats. And the one thing that doesn't fucking matter, right, is you know, it doesn't matter
color.
because at the end of the day, these decision makers,
Right?
these athletic commissions, which play a big factor in this too, based on the staffing and refs that they bring in, there's certainly narratives and there's certainly biases, and that's all I want to surpass. Like, if we're actually ever going to grow in MMA, it shouldn't matter what region of the world we're fighting in. If I won that fight 2-1, I shouldn't be fearful because I'm in this dude's backyard. It's a 2-1 the other way. That just means there's local biasism, and that's not a fair
But
playing
that's why I love
ground
what Dana
in
White's
a
done.
one-on-one
Even though
sport.
Dana White's best friends with Donald Trump, best mates, they're fucking best friends in the whole world. He's still doing what he does. He lets every fighter speak. He does do it. I love the freedom of speech that Dana does give the fighters.
Yep.
Even though I know Dana would fucking suck in Trumpy's dick. You know what I mean? Like, I know that's happening. But yet, he does say he is a global organization. And he would have told his best mate, Trump, look, dude, you can ban everyone else, but I'm global, bro. Leave me alone. Let me go global. Like,
Yep.
the that UFC literally relies on immigrants.
It does.
It does.
It
Without
does.
it, it's finished. So let's not talk politics because
Yep.
that's all bullshit. Let's talk
Closing
the
notes,
last fight
anyways. We're
and the
wrapping
last.
up this
Yeah, yeah,
video.
yeah, yeah.
We're wrapping up this video. So, anyways, that was the chit chat about the Four Kings. Uh, happy to have this one back. Congrats, Usman.
The
Happy to have you back,
DDP.
buddy. All right. Much love. We'll catch you guys in the upcoming breakdown for this next card. All right. Peace.